Hey everybody, welcome back to Modern Monarchy. It's episode 9. Today we're going to teach Cassie all about Camilla, Queen Camilla, which I don't know. I don't really have terrible feelings about Camilla. I think person to person, if I ever met her, I'd probably like her. But, the whole Diana thing, it makes me on the inside kind of not want to say Queen Camilla.
My brain doesn't even acknowledge that she's a queen. Like, you say Camilla to me, and I'm like, no, she's just Camilla. I don't. She's not the queen, and I don't. I think the other thing for me too is like I have only ever been alive when the queen was the queen. So I
Right.
think in my brain, I'm just like, you can't be the queen because there was only one the queen, and it ain't you.
That's that's one of the things we're going to talk about eventually is that because the queen was the queen regnant for so long, that it really gives a lot of weight to that title. That
Mm,
if we'd always have kings, it wouldn't normally, and we probably wouldn't have such a hard time saying Queen
that's a good
Camilla.
point.
Because, you're kind of, when you say Queen Camilla, you're like, she's nothing compared to Elizabeth.
No, you are nothing
You
compared
are not worthy.
Oh, that's funny.
But she's not taking Elizabeth's job.
No, not even close. But anyways,
uh,
okay.
so I wanted to make a note because I've had it interesting about halfway through my notes that I was working on the script for the Queen of England, which again, really hard to say. Uh, I was working on a script about the Queen of England while 4th of July fireworks were happening outside.
Huh.
We're like, yeah, independence.
It's okay. We're not really independent anymore. We're just sad. But I digress.
Yeah. Okay. I let's not. I don't want to be depressed.
Yeah, so let's talk about Camilla. Oh,
Camilla!
a dog photo. Okay, well,
I thought that would help.
it does soften the blow.
That's Beth, by the way.
The dog's name is Beth,
Yeah.
like Elizabeth.
Yeah. But
Oh,
she had
okay.
another dog named Bluebell, so it's Beth and Bluebell. And on her
Is that a thing?
coronation, no, but on her coronation gown in the embroidery, she has Beth and Bluebell in the dress.
Okay, that's actually really cute.
Right?
Do I like her now? God
That's
damn
what I'm
it.
saying. If I met her in real life, person to person, and I just blocked out anything from the past, I could get along with this lady.
But unfortunately, we know too much. But now we're going
I'm
to
not,
learn more.
I'm not saying that if I ever met her, I would be rude to her.
I have to wonder if there's some level of like she just expects it.
I think so.
Which is shitty. Like imagine like living your life like that where you're like everybody generally kind of hates me. Even if they even if they're nice to me, like most people don't have a favorable opinion of me.
Yeah. If Diana's telling the truth about her confronting Camilla about having an affair with her husband, and Camilla was just like, I don't know what your problem is. Everybody loves you, and you have two wonderful children. What else do you need?
I don't see the issue.
And she's like, if people find out about what I'm doing, everybody's gonna freaking hate me because they all love you. Anyways, Camilla. All right, let's go back to 1946. It is the 2nd of January, St. Paul's Knightsbridge in London. Her parents getting married.
Okay.
It's very exciting.
I
So
see.
her father is Major Bruce Middleton Hope Shand. He was born into an upper class family And the way that they described how upper class they were is they were landowning gentry. So they had help in the house, help in the garden, and help with the children. It's kind of like aristocracy without the titles.
Aristocracy light.
Yes. He was an officer in the British Army who served in France as part of the British force during the Second World War. And so that's why we're getting married in 1946, directly after.
Good for him for surviving.
Here's some lovely younger pictures of him. And then her mother is the Honorable Rosalind Maud Shand, born Cubbett, last name Cubbett. She was the daughter of Roland Cubbett, 3rd Baron Ashcombe. She is also the granddaughter of Alice Keppel. Have you ever heard the name Alice Keppel?
No.
She was a longtime mistress to King Edward VII.
Oh! So we have a history of mistressing.
Yeah, we just, it's the family profession.
You're like, it's fine. You don't need to actually like marry the king right away. As long as you get in some way. It's fine.
In 1939, she was debutante of the year. Her
Ooh, what is that?
parents had arranged. So I think I've described the whole debutante thing before, maybe.
No.
Okay. So in the 1900s, like the mid-century, they still had these coming out parties when you turned about 18 as a young woman.
So is this
You're,
like if you were in Bridgerton and you know how the queen picks her diamond for the
yeah,
season?
yeah.
It's like that.
So especially for women in the aristocracy, it was like your parents threw a ball and you were the main event, and then everybody knew you were ready to mingle.
Got it.
So she was debutante of the year. And her parents arranged an extravagant dance for her social debut with guests such as King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, Elizabeth II's mother.
Wait, so she
And
did a dance for her like I'm ready?
yeah, like a kind of like a ball.
But like she just danced by herself?
No, there was a dance.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I like was like I think it's because of this photo.
She looks like she's ending a dance.
Kind of.
Yeah. No, she's just apparently as debutante of the year, you got to be in Bystander magazine.
Oh.
Yeah. So the king and queen showed up for this dance. Also, John F. Kennedy was there. He was a Harvard student on break and son of the U.S. ambassador, Joe Kennedy.
Interesting.
Things could have been different.
So very many things.
um, there's not a lot of pictures of Camilla as a child because she wasn't a royal family member, and
I thought you were just gonna say because she wasn't a child, and then I was
oh,
like,
she was never a child. She actually hatched from an egg.
that would make a lot of sense. Just saying.
So
Okay.
I don't have pictures of baby Camilla,
Okay.
but small Camilla. Um, she was born July 17th, so her birthday is coming up soon, along with somebody
Say.
else's.
That's me.
That's
She's not a Leo
me.
though, and it makes sense.
She was born in 1947. Her name is Camilla Rosemary Shand. Born at King's College Hospital in London. Her family lived in Plumpton Village in East Essex
That
from
sounds like a
19
fake place.
from
Village.
1951 onwards.
This is her childhood home.
Yes, it's called The Lanes. This one was just a 7-bedroom home out in the countryside.
I like this house. This is pretty.
Right? I like this little like,
Atrium?
yeah.
Yeah, very classy.
Ah.
Built-in bookshelves, also very classy.
Her family also had a London home. It was a 3-story Victorian house in South Kensington. Camilla once described the house and her youth as perfect in every way.
That means she had a lot of trauma.
No, we're gonna find out that she grew up quite opposite to Diana, who did not describe her childhood as perfect in every way.
Dang, so it really was just nice. She just had a really nice childhood.
Yeah, things were just nice.
Oh, fine. Nobody gets that, but whatever.
She had 2 siblings. February 2nd, 1949. Sonia Annabelle Elliott. Well, her new married name is Elliott
Got it.
Shand. She was born. And then June 28th, 1951, Mark Roland Shand was born. The only thing I would say about this is that Sonia Annabelle actually just goes by Annabelle now. Um, and she was in the coronation, and she's one of Queen Camilla's companions, which used to be called ladies in waiting, but now she calls them the Queen's companions. I'm just saying they're very close sisters.
Got it.
Yeah. In her childhood, she was a very avid reader through the influence of her father. She grew up with cats and dogs, and at a young age, she learned how to ride by joining pony club camps. She won rosettes at community gymkhanas,
Fuck.
just like somebody else whose birthday's coming up soon.
I was gonna say, like, why do I have so much in common with Camilla? This is weird.
When she was 5, she went to Dumbrell School
Oh,
in
good. I didn't do
Ditchling
that.
Village.
Okay.
In Ditchling Village in Sussex. Later, her sister and brother would join her there. And according to a fellow schoolmate, Jenny Kilbride, who's also in this picture, I don't know if you can read the bottom, but there's
Yeah, I can.
a lineup of children. For people who can't watch the video, I realized
I
like
was like,
9
people can't
episodes
read.
in. No, for like 9 episodes in, I realized, oh, we also put this on Spotify, and I do put the video up, but if you're not
Watching.
watching, you can't see the pictures.
And there's a lot of you guys are like, okay, just if you are one of the silly people that listen to this, I love you. Thank you for being here. But also, you're missing out. Like Jen puts together whole ass slideshows for this stuff. So
Yeah,
like you really are missing half of the podcast. So if you like listening to this, highly recommend YouTube. Just throwing it out there because Jen does a lot of work to do these
I
and
really,
there's a visual
I,
medium here.
I it really is visual. If you want to listen, I guess so. But you're missing out.
I guess so, but
I guess you could do that. Um, just anytime I want to complain about how hard I work on this, I wanted to have like the sound clip of Megan going, I work so hard. I will work on more sound clips later. It's just also I would have to figure out how to get the buttons somewhere I could get them because I have one screen.
it was gonna say, it sounds like you have a lot going on between your notes, the show, me in the middle.
So, anyways, the picture is a lineup of her and her schoolmates. Camilla is the third one from the right, and her friend Jenny Kilbride. Well, they weren't actually like friends. They went to school together and they knew of each other.
Got it.
They know each other more now that Camilla has gone back and met her again. But at the time, they just like went to school together. Jenny Kilbride is next to her. She's the fourth one from the right. Jenny Kilbride says that in school, Camilla was a general good student. She had memories of kids having fun, holiday parties, long walks, flower collecting to study plant life, and every year the school would put on a fun little play. You
So,
go
like a
start,
very generic school experience.
yeah, unlike some other boarding schools and whatnot, where like Charles was always meant to feel like he was inferior all the time.
Right? She just
Camilla
got
had
to
a
be a kid.
she got to be a kid. At 8 years old, they split up the boys and the girls and taught them separately. And there seemed to be like a social divide in the classes, just like between the kids, and it was who had a horse and who didn't. So horse girls are nah.
Yay, that means people think I'm rich. I'm not, I have horses.
It's all in the horses.
It's all in the horses.
Uh, Jenny says that Camilla was a natural leader, intelligent, and kind to the younger children, and Camilla was seemed to be very happy to be there. Later, she went to Queensgate School in South Kensington, which was a boarding school, an all-girls private school, but Camilla got to go home on the weekends. So really, not that bad.
I was gonna say, I'm like, so you just hung out there during the week.
Right. And so like another situation proving our hypothesis that maybe sending your kids away for long periods of time
Is not
makes
healthy.
them is not healthy and doesn't give them good connections with their family later.
Right?
So Camilla went back to Queensgate in 2007 and she spoke about her time back there. She said she did get to go home on the weekends and sometimes she bunked off on Mondays, aka she just skipped coming back on Monday.
Okay.
um, she wasn't the most academic student they ever had, but she wasn't like terrible at school and her favorite subject was English. She liked to play tennis. They had dancing classes in school and she was irritated that she always had to be the man in the dancing class.
Fair.
She never actually got in trouble, but it is alleged that she once climbed onto the school roof to have a sneaky cigarette.
She would never
Um,
sneak and do anything like that ever.
oh, I could totally imagine this. Both Annabelle and Camilla were both very outgoing and popular, and Camilla was admired for being able to talk to the boys about things that interested them.
Mm.
Hmm.
Wow.
Well, so she seems to be quite popular. So, like, she could be a girl's girl, but she could also hang out with boys.
Got it.
Yeah. In her summers, she spent them learning to drive, riding her horses, and lazing around the swimming pool. This is all just sounding horrible.
I was gonna say, I'm like, pretty idyllic childhood, if you ask me.
1964, at 17 years old, she spent a year at Monfortil School in Switzerland. It was a finishing school that taught you the finer points of etiquette. One of her friends from that time, named Charlotte Erickson, said, "We were just typical crazy teenage girls, into the Beatles, hair, makeup, and clothes. We would stay up late talking about the boys we fancied and eating Swiss chocolate and giggling. Real rough.
I was gonna say, I'm like, has she faced any adversity other than that in which she brought upon herself?
No.
Okay.
She also spent 6 months at l'Institut Britannique in Paris so she could work on her French. She says that she left Paris with what would be a lasting fear of elevators. She got stuck in one with 3 other people for 7 hours one day, and now she really prefers to take the stairs.
That's
So
fair.
that was her one trauma event.
She got stuck in the elevator.
Yep.
Also, if I recall, like, elevators in that time,
In Europe.
pretty small.
Yeah.
Like, they were tight.
Yeah.
So 7 hours, and I don't know, were they
With 3
strangers?
people?
Were they strangers?
I don't know. She said 3 other people.
So that's 4 people for 7 hours crammed in a teeny elevator. That sounds awful.
I think I'd pass out.
They had to have peed in the corner. Like,
It's just
there's
like
no way you go 7 hours and not have to pee.
the anxiety of not knowing when I'm gonna get out of here, if ever, would send me spiraling mentally. And then I'd be like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I'm sucking all the air out of the room and I'm never going to breathe again.
1965. First, she shared a small flat in Kensington with her friend Jane Wyndham. And then she moved into a large apartment in Belgravia, which is a rich part of London,
Sounds it. Oh my gosh.
with her friend Virginia Carrington, who once described Camilla as a total slob. So
Wow. Bomb drop.
we're following, like, school-wise, same trajectory as Diana, because they're both like upper class women. So you just kind of went to school, went to finishing school, then became a wife.
Right. Somebody got you an apartment and you got to just like hang out there and
Out
till
there
you
with
were
your
married.
friends. But then, personality-wise, kind of opposites. Diana had a hard time making friends in school. And then when she moved into an apartment with people, she was the mother hen running around cleaning everything. And Camilla got along great with everybody as a kid. And now that she's in an apartment with people, she just leaves stuff everywhere.
Yeah. Somebody else's problem.
Another friend is quoted as saying, Camilla's bedroom always looked like a bomb had hit it. You should have seen the state of the bathroom after she'd been it. And I hope that means she left toiletries all over the place, because
Right?
that is an ambiguous sentence. She worked as a secretary for a variety of firms in the West End. One of them, she got a job as a receptionist at Colfax and Fowler, but she only lasted a week as she arrived late one morning after a party the previous night, and her boss sacked her on the spot.
Ooh.
It's okay, she didn't need the job.
Clearly.
1965.
Wait, what was the picture we just saw?
What? The one of her sitting in a chair next to a dude?
Oh, for some reason I thought maybe this person was of importance or.
No, just
Oh,
a
okay.
dude.
I was just noticing also that she has like a cheeky strap off the shoulder too.
I know. Scandal.
Slut. There'll be no slut shaming here, but
1965 was her coming out party, but in the 60s, the debutante thing was starting to wind down. So she had a cocktail party instead of a big dance.
got it. That feels more her speed.
Yeah. I guess towards the end, Princess Margaret had something to say about the debutante thing. She was like, they just let anybody have one now. So yeah, we should stop doing it.
Princess Margaret would say that.
Yeah. She met Andrew Parker Bowles sometime in the late 60s. He was a major in the Royal Horse Guards, so he works for the royal family. He also worked for her father's wine firm in Mayfair, and he played polo with Prince Charles. Their dating relationship was on and off for like 6 years, and it says that Andrew Parker Bowles was unfaithful, but I don't know if Camilla was also unfaithful or what that means
Also,
when you're.
is this like a friend situation where it's like we were on a break?
Yeah. Also, like, was he probably was unfaithful when they were on again, but then are we also counting if he dated somebody when you're off again?
Right. Also,
um,
as a horse person, this horse's neck is killing me. Just saying. It shouldn't look like that. That's wrong.
what?
As a horse person, this horse's
Yeah.
neck drives me insane. So see how it's like upside down almost? Like it's like really got a lot of like lower neck going on.
Mm,
It should be opposite. And like see how
I don't
there's like
know.
this like U shape in front of the saddle at the base of the neck on the top?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that. This is bad. This is bad muscling, guys.
Oh no.
I'm just saying.
Okay. I'm
Show me the next
uncomfy.
picture and get rid of it.
Okay, we will.
If you're just listening, don't worry about it.
Don't worry. Don't look at the horse. During one of the off periods with Andrew Parker Bowles, Camilla meets Lucia Santa Cruz, who is
Ooh.
the daughter of the Chilean ambassador. She took the apartment above Camilla's, and she is friends with Prince Charles.
Mm.
The newspapers at the time considered her Charles's first girlfriend, but I don't know if they actually were dating or people just saw them together.
Got it.
Lucia introduced Camilla to Prince Charles in 1970 or 71. The prince was coming for a drink before we went out, and I asked Camilla to come upstairs and meet him, she said with a smile. I said, "You two better be careful. You've got genetic antecedents." It was just a little joke, and they both laughed. As in, like, her great grandmother and his great grandfather, great great grandfather, were mingling in the past.
Got it.
Also, we're not sure if Alice Keppel's children were King Edward's. So, like, maybe Camilla's related to him?
Got it. They never wanted to check.
I don't think so. It's really something you want to find out. Her relationship with Charles was pretty cash. Charles liked Camilla's sense of humor. They shared a love of polo matches, and they met at them frequently. They shared a love of horticulture, and they liked to laugh a lot at a classic radio show called The Goon Show.
Ooh.
The show satirized contemporary life in 1950s Britain. So I don't know if they had like recordings of this or somebody was replaying the show, but this was like an old show from the 50s and the 60s.
So it was basically a weird thing for them to like bring
Yeah.
niche.
They became part of the set of people at the private members club Annabelle's in Berkeley Square. And Charles met Shan's family in Plumpton, and he introduced her to some members of his family. So it's kind of serious. She didn't meet Queen Elizabeth yet.
So not serious enough.
In the end, while Charles is away on a naval tour in 1973, Camilla gets married to Andrew Parker Bowles. And people have been trying to figure out exactly how and why that happened. Some think Charles thought it was too easy, it was too early for him. He's like a year and a half younger than her. And so in 1970, he was only like 22. And at some point, he does a TV interview where he tells the interviewer he thinks that 30 would probably be a good time for him to actually like settle down and get married. But he wanted to kind of have his 20s to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Some think Charles was thought it was too early for him. Some think Charles would not have been allowed to marry her if he had asked for permission because she was experienced, or some might call untidy, aka she's not a virgin, and she seems to be popular amongst the boys. So,
Okay.
also, Charles was under the influence of his
Grandpa
great
Mountbatten.
yeah his great uncle.
Great uncle.
He didn't seem to be pro Camilla. He was probably the one that gave Charles the idea that you want to spend your 20s sowing your wild oats and then settle down when you're 30 with somebody young.
And a nice, clean virgin.
Yeah. According to Sally Bedell Smith, who is a very well respected royal biographer, the engagement between Camilla and Andrew Parker Bowles was sent out, like an announcement was sent out by their parents without their knowledge and just kind of forced them to get engaged and get married.
That's a wild thing to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the 4th of July, 1973, she marries APB, Andrew Parker Bowles.
APB.
APB at the Guards Chapel in the Wellington Barracks in London. It's a Catholic wedding, which is interesting because she later marries Charles, and that has to be an Anglican marriage because we can't have any Catholics in the British royal family. This goes back to like Mary Queen of Scots stuff, which is not modern monarchy, so I don't have a lot of notes. Just
Fair.
no Catholics. People died over this stuff in the past, so we don't do Catholics. Also, the monarch is the head of the Anglican Church, so it would be really weird for him to have a Catholic marriage.
Right.
Both of her children seem to have been brought up in the Catholic faith, but Camilla remained an Anglican. Anglican. Oh. The wedding was considered the society wedding of the year, with 800 guests. Royal guests included Princess Anne, who had previously dated Andrew, the Queen's sister Margaret, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, not the actual Queen,
Okay,
Queen
got it.
Elizabeth II. These two moved into Bullhide Manor in Wiltshire, and in 1974, they have Thomas Henry, who is the godson of Prince Charles, who is right here in a picture of his christening.
Hmm.
Just real
Interesting.
close. In 1978, they have a daughter named Laura Rose, kind of rounds out their little family, and they're good. Throughout the marriage, Camilla and Charles remained friends. Surprise, surprise. Rumors began circulating amongst close friends, not in the press, that Camilla and Charles had rekindled their intimate relationship.
Oh.
Apparently, there is a source close to Parker Bowles that confirmed that by 1980 they had. No idea who that person is. And there's also allegedly claims by royal staff that it had occurred earlier. Supposedly, Andrew Parker Bowles knew about the affairs the whole time. Didn't have a problem with it. Probably because he was also having his own affairs.
Yeah. He's like, well, who am
Yeah.
I to throw stones?
So when it came time for Charles to find a wife, that's why the Parker Bowleses were always there every time Diana hung out with Charles. And we're kind of like preparing her to get married to Charles.
Got
Like, you're going to be part of our little group now, except not.
it. We all
We're
cheat
not.
on each other.
You don't
But
know about that yet, but you'll find out later.
but in the meantime, get used to us.
Yeah. In 1981, Charles marries Diana. Remember, Camilla attends. She was seen inside the church. And then Andrew is in the red circle right there because he had been promoted to commanding officer of the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. He was also like right there for their wedding. She's not in her wedding dress because they're going off to their honeymoon in this picture.
Got it.
In 1985, 1986 is when Diana starts cheating on Charles too. And really, this marriage is completely falling apart. Oh, 1992. This is my picture of 1992 because I feel like that is 100% Camilla in her off time with a cigarette and a drink.
This is a look. She looks haggard in this photo, though.
I am also using this for 1992 not only because this picture was taken in 1992, but I feel like pretty soon she's going to have a lot more cigarettes and drinks. Because this is the year that this is the Annus Horribilis, the year
Mm.
that um, tapes of Charles and Camilla talking to each other on the phone are released. Tapes of Diana and other men talking on the phone are released. Diana, her true story comes out. And now we're having a lot of problems in the media and the public, but nothing has been confirmed. It's just like somebody wrote a book about Diana and it claims that Camilla is part of their marriage. Because at the time, nobody knows that Diana's involved in the book. 1993, it is reported that Camilla's father approached Charles and yelled at him in a private event for ruining his daughter's life after their relationship became public. Of course, their relationship was a bit strained, Charles and Camilla's father, but eventually they will grow to like each other.
Okay.
Camilla
Where
said
did you
these.
find all these awful photos of her?
I had to get this one out of a documentary because I couldn't find any in Google Images, but I knew they existed. Camilla said that these were the worst days of her life. She'd become a prisoner in her own home. She received anonymous, heavy breathing telephone calls day and night. She had no security because
She wasn't
Charles
special
couldn't.
enough.
Huh?
She wasn't special enough at that point.
Well, technically, nobody's really admitted to this relationship. And Charles is married. He doesn't have a girlfriend. So we can't even have the excuse of like, we need to protect her because she's my girlfriend. So
Fair.
Charles doesn't do anything to help her. It is said that she was even pelted with bread rolls outside her local supermarket.
What a waste of bread.
Her son, Tom, was speaking on a podcast, I think last week, because I just read this article that came out on the 4th of July. Um, he said that during the 90s, it was hell for her with the paparazzi and being chased at high speeds by all these absolute nutters. All this to say, you know, when Megan's talking about being bullied and trolled by people in the media, and then the royal family's like, it happens to literally all of us. This is the kind of stuff that Camilla went through.
Fair.
In 1994, this is where things change a bit because Charles is the first one to admit to the affair in public.
Ooh, it's a video.
Did you try to be faithful and honourable to your wife when you took on the vow of marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
And you were?
Yes. Until it became irretrievably broken down.
Yes. Pregnant pause. Until
it became irretrievably broken down. I am so irritated with this answer because he takes himself, like, he does not take blame for this. Like,
right,
the marriage fell apart.
Right, like talking about their marriage as if it's a used car.
Right. Like, I couldn't do anything, and everything just fell apart around me. It was just like, So this interview was in tandem with the biography that Dimbleby, the interviewer, wrote and put out. And this was Charles and some of the members of the royal family worked with Dimbleby to write the biography. And this was an effort to get the public to know Charles more. Because, like, most of this interview is Charles outside in the wilderness of Balmoral in Scotland and talking about how much he loves nature and everything. And he's trying to gain some sympathy with the public because everybody literally hates him and Camilla.
I wonder why.
Allegedly, because Charles admits to the affair. Allegedly, this is when Andrew Parker Bowles says, we can't do this anymore. Like, we need to get a divorce because now I've been publicly embarrassed. My wife is cheating on me. But then I guess in the divorce papers, it comes out that Andrew Parker Bowles took responsibility for the divorce, probably because he was also cheating.
That could be it.
But basically, this is when divorce proceedings begin for those two. And at this point, Charles and Diana are separated.
Okay, are you going to get to this? But why did she keep his last name?
Parker Bowles.
Yeah.
I think most women do when they get divorced. They just keep their married name.
Do they?
Yeah.
I didn't think that was normal.
My mom kept her married name after she divorced my dad. Oh, cat.
Yeah, drive by. Hi, kitten. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess, like, my mom just never changed her name.
No.
Like, Josh's mom changed her name back. Actually, I'm not sure she ever changed her.
Sorry.
I don't know. Either way, I've always just wondered because it just feels like to be the queen and married to King Charles, to keep your ex-husband's last name feels weird to me.
Well, when she became queen, she was remarried. So she's no
Right.
longer Camilla Parker Bowles.
Well, who's she now?
If she has a last name, it's going to probably be Camilla Malbatten Windsor.
I guess I've never heard her referred to that. Like in my brain, she's just Camilla Parker Bowles.
Oh, I just go with Camilla.
No, she has no last name. Well,
I mean, to be fair, that's what the royal family does. They don't use last names.
I guess that's true. Okay.
In July, a month after the Dimbleby interview, Camilla's mother dies at the age of 72 of osteoporosis.
She
That's
died of
also,
osteoporosis?
yeah, we're going to read about it in a second. It's not great. Her maternal grandmother, Sonia Keppel, also died of osteoporosis in 1986. So in 1994, Camilla starts supporting the National Osteoporosis Society, which is now the Royal Osteoporosis Society. In 2001, she will become the president of the Royal Osteoporosis Society, and in 2011, she writes an article for the Daily Mail bringing awareness to the seriousness of osteoporosis, describing her mother's experience. Cassie, could you please read the blurb on the screen from the article Camilla wrote?
Wonderful. We love when Cassie has to read something out loud. My mother was only 72. In those days, osteoporosis, a crippling bone disease, was seldom discussed, rarely diagnosed, and usually attributed to old women with so-called dowager's hump.
Sorry.
My family and I watched in horror as my mother shrunk in front of our eyes. She lost about 8 inches in height and became so bent she was unable to digest her food properly, leaving her with no appetite at all. The local GP was kind and sympathetic, but he, like us, was able to do little to alleviate the terrible pain Mama suffered so stoically. Actually, I feel like I should say, Mama. In her later years, she could not breathe without oxygen or totter around her beloved garden on her Zimmer frame. What's a Zimmer frame?
I didn't look it up. I think it's probably like a walker.
I believe the quality of her life became so dismal and her suffering so unbearable that she just gave up the fight and lost the will to live. That is so sad.
Yeah, in another interview, she mentioned that one of her mother's friends came to visit her, and when that friend hugged her, it broke a rib. Yeah.
Awful.
So,
A Zimmer
osteoporosis is
frame
bad.
is a walker. So good job.
Look at me go.
Very smart. It's like slightly different, but it's a little more European.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In March of 1995, the marriage to APB is officially dissolved. 1996, Charles and Diana are officially divorced. A year after the divorce was final, Andrew Parker Bowles married somebody else, married a lady named Rosemary Pittman. It's very broken up inside. Camilla moves into Ray Mill House in the rolling countryside of Wiltshire, and she still spends time there to this day with her family without Charles. So they have like separate houses where they hang out. I think he likes to hang out at Highgrove sometimes, and she doesn't go there, and she'll go to Ray Mill and hang out with like her children and grandchildren, and he doesn't need to go.
What an interesting dynamic they have. Also, her pool is disgusting.
I don't know if it is or it's the color of the pool. I don't know.
It looks disgusting.
In 1997, in July, she was involved in a head-on car accident while driving to Highgrove House. She nor the other driver sustained any major injuries. Cassie, would you like to read what happened?
Ms. Melville Smith of Easton Gray, whose Volvo estate car turned on its side in the accident, leaving her trapped by her skirt, which was caught in the car door, claimed Mrs. Parker Bowles appeared like a missile at the wheel of a Ford Mondeo before the impact. I'm sorry, that is one sentence. I need it to be known that there was no break in that. That was just comma after comma.
Yeah. Also, she hit her so hard that her car flipped over on its side.
Appeared like a missile sounds like it was actually probably quite accurate. Mrs. Parker Bowles left the scene of the accident to use her mobile telephone to call the ambulance service and police from a nearby hill. She then called the prince, who was expecting her for dinner at nearby Highgrove House, his Gloucestershire home. So, okay, at least that was 2 sentences. But like when they start the sentence with she left the scene of the accident, I was like, this bitch hit somebody and then just left.
I did that too. I did that too.
It feels like they worded it that way on purpose instead of just saying like she called like
from a nearby hill.
Right. He sent his own police bodyguard to the scene with with 2 of his valets and 2 other members of staff. Mrs. Parker Bowles told the police she had not remained at the scene of the accident or exchanged details with the other driver as required by law because she was concerned about the security risk. Ms. Melville Smith, an interior designer of Easton Gray, we already know she's from Easton Gray. Who wrote this? Said yesterday, I don't want Camilla to be persecuted because it won't get me anywhere. So long as I'm not left out of pocket, I'm happy to let the matter rest. At the moment, we are sorting it all out through our insurance companies, but if I don't get full compensation, I think I will write to Camilla. It would be really bitchy if I did pursue it, because Camilla has a hard enough time anyway, and she would only get more bad press. How kind of you, Ms. Melville Smith of Easton Gray.
It was, don't forget, she's of Easton Gray.
Very important detail.
I like how she's like, I don't want to cause too much trouble. Not that it's going to get me anywhere because she's dating Prince Charles. But also, I guess I don't want her to get more bad press because people are already throwing bread at her.
Right. What a wild story.
Yeah. So this all happens a month before Diana gets in an accident. And it is not funny. And Diana passes away. Around this time, Charles has hired a public relations executive, Mark Boland, to improve his public profile. This man comes up with a way to make people like Charles a little more by encouraging Charles to have more positive engagements, encouraging him to meet people like Nelson Mandela, the Spice Girls, or Nelson Mandela and the Spice Girls.
What? What is happening here? What? Oh my! What? Why does he look like he's being held hostage? This looks like the photo you take of somebody when you say, like, blink twice if you need assistance.
He looks uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable.
Later, he would also hire Mark Boland to do the same for Camilla, orchestrating positive public appearances, attending unofficial engagements together, because people need to see her, they need to get to know her, and maybe they'll stop seeing her as the villain so much. And over time, this starts to work, and people slowly stop referring to her as the mistress and now his partner. And they stop throwing bread at her. People still don't like her. We're still very angry. But
we're no longer wasting food on the matter.
Exactly. Some people, including Harry and Spare, have said that one of Mark Boland's techniques was to leak negative stories about other members of the family to distract from people writing negative stories about Camilla. But I can't really find any evidence of that. I also don't know how well that would work. Because because Harry's over there doing drugs doesn't mean I still don't hate Camilla.
Right?
In 1999, they make their first public appearance together at the Ritz Hotel. And it is a to-do.
And people are whooping.
There are
Big
so
whoop.
many cameras.
It's a really big deal.
I know. So they literally just hop out of the hotel, get into a car, and drive away. And there's like 200 photographers. There's like videos of these guys setting up hours in advance so they get a good spot for the picture.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, recently I ran out before, so it was just the 4th of July. And I recently ran out to grab some stuff on the 4th of July because I needed shit. And we have a local parade that started at like 11, and I drove by at like 7:45 in the morning. And these people were camped out on Main Street for the 4th of July parade. And I was like, who does that? This feels a
Right?
little higher stakes than that. But like,
But
imagine
like,
being like, okay, I'm going to get probably 6 blurry pictures of these two. But I because this is still film time. This is not really, what, like, people, I don't know.
yeah,
It's not really digital
1999.
then.
No, it's 99.
So it's like, you don't even know. Like, you may get a shit photo, and
Yeah.
you've been there for hours.
You're just like, you're just stretching out your finger that hits the button.
Trigger
Like,
finger.
oh, your trigger finger. So they got to take 2,000 photos in approximately 30 seconds. In the year 2000, she accompanies Charles for more official engagements. Charles hosts
I hate
the
this dress, is what I was trying to say.
It's a very 2000s dress. The way it's ill-fitting. And the beads look a little cheap sewn onto the dress.
And right on the tit.
Yeah, it's
It's not a good look.
it's interesting.
I wouldn't bring this one back.
So Charles hosts the 60th birthday party for King Constantine of Greece at Highgrove. And at this party, obviously he invites Camilla and his mother. So the queen actually goes to the party and signals to everybody else that she accepts and acknowledges that these two are together now. Because she will be in the presence with the both of them.
Crazy. So
Yeah.
but she had met her before then at this point, though.
No, she meets her at the party.
For the first time?
Yeah.
After all of this?
Yeah,
That's wild.
exactly.
Okay.
The queen did not approve of all of the fairness.
Which, like, good on her.
hmm So at this point, it's just that she acknowledges that they're a thing. Nobody really knows how she feels about it.
Got it.
In 2003, Camilla moves into the royal residence Clarence House, which is near Buckingham Palace, because in 2003, I believe it is a year after the Queen Mother had passed away, because
Got
the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret lived in Clarence House together until they both passed away. And then Charles and Camilla use it as one of their royal residences, and they still use it as one of their royal residences. And it seems that they kind of prefer it to Buckingham Palace because it's a little homier.
Got it. More their speed.
Yeah. In 2004, Edward Van Cutsum and Lady Tamara Grosvenor get married. Edward Van Cutsem is Charles's godson.
Got it.
He's also friends with William. So they're very close to the royal family, the Van Cutsems. But Charles doesn't want to go to the wedding and does not go to the wedding. It is reported in the news that this is because Camilla would not be seated next to him. Probably because she's not a member of the royal family at this point. So she can't sit with all the royals and the families of the bride and groom. Also, Camilla may have allegedly had a problem with the Van Cutsems because both her children and their children were having bad press in the news because the Van Cutsems were being reported to be involved with drugs and maybe getting the princes, William and Harry, into drugs. And then Tom Parker Bowles, her son, is in the throes of having like a big drinking problem because his entire world has been turned upside down since his mom was found out to be a mistress, his parents got divorced, and then their family was being hounded by the paparazzi. So apparently Camilla may have gotten into a fight over the two families criticizing each other's children.
Got it.
So Charles and Camilla don't go. Queen Elizabeth II does, and also Prince William and Harry. At this point, I'm 16 years old, and guess what? The only thing I care about is this right here.
Guy.
Is a handsome Prince William. In February 2005, we have the engagement of Charles and Camilla. And when I talked about this in the Charles episode, I mentioned there was video of her being really excited to be engaged, but I didn't have it. Here it is.
Congratulations. Thank you very much indeed. You can have a close How are you feeling?
How are you feeling, ma'am?
All right.
Just all right.
I'm just coming down to earth.
Did you get down on one knee to propose?
What else?
I don't know if you can hear her.
All right. Oh, I'm just recovering from shock.
No, I just like at the beginning, they were like, "Oh, that's a nice ring," and she like puts her hand on her clutch, and then shows off her ring, and she's like, "Here, get a close up." In April, 2 months later,
Ooh, a hat.
Charles and Camilla get married.
Oh, I like that she didn't wear white.
Yeah, unlike somebody else.
I also like that her hat matches his hair.
That is true, especially with the wind.
That's what I mean.
So
Very coiffed.
after they get married, she is technically Princess of Wales, but doesn't go by the title because at this point, that title goes to Diana. Even though Diana has passed, she has been the only Princess of Wales anybody can remember in the last 100 years, and everybody loved Diana, so we definitely don't want Camilla to have the same title.
No, we don't give her that.
Camilla's like, fine, I'm the Duchess of Cornwall. That's my next title down. Clarence House posts a statement about the fact that people are starting to wonder when Charles becomes king, is Camilla going to be queen? Because, like, we don't want that.
She can be here, but she can't have power.
So this article I'm posting is from 2020, but it does refer back to 2005 when they got married. So the title of the article is Camilla will not be queen when Charles becomes king. Clarence House confirms the title. And Cassie, you can read the blurb from the article.
Clarence House insisted on Sunday there has been no change on the decision taken at the time of her marriage to Charles in 2005. A Clarence House spokesman claimed Camilla, 72, will still become princess consort when her husband becomes king. They said, the intention is for the Duchess to be known as princess consort when the prince accedes to the throne. This was announced at the time of the marriage, and there has been absolutely no change at all.
So that was 2005 all the way to 2020. That was the case. When Charles becomes king, she will be princess consort. Just like when Queen Elizabeth was queen, Philip was a prince. Just because of that whole, like, a king sounds like it's above a queen. So if our queen regnant, is marrying a man, we can't hand him the title of king because he might try to, like, take over.
Right.
Or, like, people might assume that he ranks above their queen and treat him differently. And we can't have that. And so they're like, well, let's just apply it to Camilla too. In the reverse, we'll have princess consort. And then one of the prime ministers brought it up that maybe we should officially change it that whoever is married to the monarch would be titled prince or princess consort. That never really went through. So that's why we now have Queen Camilla. But I don't think people really wanted that to go through because I'm telling you, people are excited for William and Catherine. And I think they want a Queen Catherine. 11th of June, 2006, her father dies at 89 years old.
With a doggy.
With a doggy.
I love all these, like, doggy in the garden photos.
Yeah.
Also, okay, scooting around the military.
So, over the next 20 years or so, Camilla has accumulated lots of jobs. She's become patron or president of over 100 charities, most of them being in the realm of health and well-being, promoting literacy, the arts, animal welfare, and supporting survivors of rape, sexual assault, and domestic abuse.
Interesting.
This picture is her on a little scooter because in 2010 she broke her leg walking on a hill in Scotland, but still went to engagements even though she had to do it on a scooter, in wheelchairs, and on crutches, which I think also improved her image. Like, she's still doing
Did
the
her
work.
duty.
Yeah, and I think it improved her
Also-
image.
Hysterical that Scotland was like, no, break your leg.
Yeah.
Out of all places, and only because the Queen obviously was very attached to Scotland. So it's
Yeah.
just really funny to me. It feels a little bit like a little cosmic F you.
So I think this improved her image in the public, but it also improved how the Queen saw her. So on the 9th of April 2012, which is not when this picture was taken, but it has a picture of the order that she's wearing, the little medal. Queen Elizabeth appoints Camilla as a Dame Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, which is a very high honor. It recognizes distinguished personal service to the monarch, members of the royal family, or to any senior representative of the monarch.
So it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and admission is at the sole discretion of the monarch. The Queen is the only one who decides who gets one.
Ooh.
This is proof that Queen Elizabeth approves of Camilla. April 2000.
Elephants. I'm like, what are we looking at?
They're painted elephants. April of 2014, Camilla's brother, Mark Shand, died in New York after an accident. He was celebrating the conclusion of a fundraising campaign for his conservation charity Elephant Family, which is dedicated to protecting the Asian elephant from extinction in the wild. Funds pioneer projects across Asia to reconnect forest fragments, prevent conflict, and fight wildlife crime. And now Charles and Camilla are joint royal presidents of this charity. So Mark was at the Rose Bar of the Gramercy Park Hotel. He went out to light a cigarette on the balcony. The New York Post claims that he had been drinking and was on blood pressure medication, so he might have gotten dizzy. Somebody else said that he went out with his hands in his pockets when he left the bar. So he got dizzy and then he fell off the balcony and hit his head on the pavement. And they're saying like his hands might have been in his pocket, so he couldn't even like buffer the fall at all. And then he was rushed to the hospital and died in the hospital.
Ow!
Absolutely horrific.
That's awful.
Yeah. So something lighter. 2015, Charles commissioned a pub in his little town of Poundbury, the little town that he created so it could be like a walking city. It's actually a pub and an inn. So it's called the Duchess of Cornwall Inn. So he named it after his wife. And that's them opening it and having some drinks.
So fun.
2016, Camilla and William are appointed members of the Privy Council. So that the senior body of trusted advisors who the monarch consults on matters of the state. The sovereign may appoint any person as a privy councillor, but in practice, appointments are made only on the advice of Her Majesty's government. So now she's in the inner circle for advising the Queen on how she should go about government duties.
Which is hysterical.
And people are wondering if that means she's like maybe bringing her closer into the fold because she's maybe gonna be the Queen.
Got it.
Even though we've been saying she's gonna be a princess consort. But okay. On February 2nd, 2022, the Queen posts a message on her 70th accession day, aka her father died 70 years ago to that day. So this is just a message that she posted, and part of it was about Camilla.
This anniversary also affords me a time to reflect on the goodwill shown to me by people of all nationalities, faiths, and ages in this country and around the world over these years. I would like to express my thanks to you all for your support. I remain eternally grateful for and humbled by the loyalty and affection that you continue to give me. And when, in the fullness of my time, my son Charles becomes king, I know you will give him and his wife Camilla the same support that you have given me. It is my sincere wish that, when that time comes, Camilla will be known as Queen Consort as she continues her own loyal service. Ooh, Elizabeth.
At this point, I'm already doing this modern monarchy thing on Instagram. I am aware of what's happening. And
got it.
When this comes out, it's a little bit like you're just sitting there with yourself like, I don't want it, but I like Elizabeth, and I trust her that she knows that this is a good idea. But still, like, people were doing polls in the newspaper, and people were like 50-50 on whether or not they wanted to go with this.
Got it.
2022.
A Zoom call.
Really? The Zoom call because it's COVID times. It's just the beginning of 2022. This is the only time she tested positive for COVID 4 days after Charles had contracted it. It's all his
Oh,
fault.
so she's on Zoom because she had. Oh. Oh my God, excuse me. So she's on Zoom because she had COVID.
Yeah.
Got it.
I don't
I
think
was
this
like, 2022 was like, we were kind of getting back to normal-ish.
I don't think this picture is from the time that she had COVID, but this was just like a representation of this is COVID time.
Got it.
Later in 2022, Queen Elizabeth makes her a Royal Lady of the Order of the Garter. Cassie, what do you see in this picture?
Lovely plumage.
As our
Honestly, I like the whole getup. Like, I like these velvet robes with like absolutely insane little necklacey pieces that are not symmetrical at all. Like, this just looks like little kids went into their mom's closet and put on stuff and waddled out and we're like, look, we're royal.
Yeah. I mean, this order I think is about 500 years old. So I'm
And they just
pretty
never
sure
made new capes. They're
I'm
like,
pretty sure they're holding on to capes from like or like the design of the capes and the outfits from like the 1700s or something
got
for
it.
tradition.
It
And
looks like
looking,
they're wearing, the like tiebacks for curtains with like really long like tassels.
yeah.
Like that's what it like we've got going on in the front here.
And then we've got ribbons, we've got
Plumage.
medals,
It's
and then
just
the
a wild
hats. Charles
assortment.
isn't wearing his hat with the plumage. I don't understand.
I'm really disappointed.
September 8th, 2022, Queen Elizabeth passes away. At this point, the papers are referring to Camilla as the Queen Consort. And I think anytime the royal family posts on social media, they also refer to her as the Queen Consort.
So we've
And this
accepted
is,
this as the truth.
yeah, they're mostly tacking on the consort part at this point to prevent confusion between her and Queen Elizabeth.
Right.
Because obviously, even now, if you said the Queen, I still think of Elizabeth.
And I
But,
think most people would expect that's who you're
right.
talking about.
But immediately, right after Queen Elizabeth died, it was even more so like anytime you said the Queen, I'm like, oh, you mean Elizabeth.
Right.
And like some people still use the consort little add on, and I feel like they do it because they just don't like saying Queen Camilla. They like just have to be like consort, Queen Consort Camilla.
Not real.
Not real. Yeah. And then when they post the actual, this is the invitations to the coronation.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time that the royal family just put her down as Queen Camilla.
Ooh.
Even though in the Instagram post they still wrote the Queen Consort.
I'm gonna go with this is more official.
I think the royal family's thought was we'll call her Queen Consort until the actual coronation. That gives you like 6 months to adjust. And
Yeah,
then after coronation, she is the queen. May 6, 2023, we have the coronation. And one thing, there's a few things that differ between Charles's coronation and Elizabeth's coronation, but one of them is Charles wanted Camilla crowned next to him. Whereas in Elizabeth's, Prince Philip was not crowned at the coronation, and he was he in the coronation he had to like bow before her and pay homage, and throughout the queen's reign he was her liege lord, and so he was like her number one man.
Hype
So
man.
in this coronation, Charles wants Camilla crowned next to him, and then Prince William was the one that paid homage to the king and became his liege lord.
Got
Since the change in reign, oh, that's a picture of Prince Philip paying homage to Queen Elizabeth at the coronation.
it. Nice.
Okay, since the change in reign, Charles has thrown the rest of the honors that a queen would have at Camilla because he's probably like, we don't have a lot of time. Here you go. She is now a Lady of the Order of the Thistle, which is the Scottish version of the Order of the Garter, which is what this plumage is for.
Different plumage.
She is the Grand Master of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, which is second only to the king. And she is first and principal Dame Grand Cross of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire at the same time. In 2024, Charles was diagnosed with cancer, and so he had to step out of a few things that he normally would do, a few engagements. So she has not only had to step up how much work she does because she is now queen, but she also was kind of doing some of his work. So, like, Maundy Thursday of that year, she was the one handing out the coins with the little purses with the strings. She was also the first consort to hand out those ceremonial coins.
Ooh.
So, in the end, over many years of seeing her just do the job quietly, not complain, people have a pretty good view of her. Like, some people really like her.
Her reputation, it seems like.
Huh?
She's really cleaned up her reputation, it seems like.
Yeah, she's put in the time. And
like
so,
you said, not complained. That's another big thing. You can't complain about it.
right, she is self-aware as to why people might not like her. But also, because we do like see her personality more because she does speak at events more often and meet people at engagements all the time. A lot of people just really like her because she is charming in person.
Well, that's nice.
But I think of Camilla again when I think about, I don't remember if it was in the Harry and Meghan show. It was somewhere. Meghan said, people told me that I just had to like wait out the bad press, and then eventually it'll get better. And then she was like, but it never got better. And I'm like, you were there for like 2 years.
Right?
What did you think it was going to get better in a couple months?
Because Camilla played the long game.
Camilla's been doing this for like 30 years.
Oh, I feel like I do like her better now. Still shitty, but like...
Right. It's kind of like how I feel about Charles.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get over what happened with Diana. But...
if that piece didn't exist, you'd be cool with them.
Right. You'd be like, oh, they're just the nice older people.
Right. Who
And
are
I
now
also...
king and queen consort.
I also feel like William kind of feels the same way about them. Because he seems to have a kind of distant relationship with his father, but like he gets along with him. Whereas kind of like he also is never going to get over what happened, but otherwise his dad's a decent person and he has to work with him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stop sharing the pictures because I don't have any more. I didn't really do what's coming up next in the news because it was just Camilla's birthday, which I already talked about.
Well, nice, clean, easy couple weeks.
Yeah.
People can just
Uh,
summer.
what?
People can just summer.
Yeah, I know they're gonna probably do a few more engagements, but in August they tend to go up to Scotland and go on vacation and then they don't do anything for a while.
I'm very jealous.
Yes, I would also like to go to my private residence in Scotland for a month or so.
So we've mentioned that I've been to Scotland, and my mom, there's like at the library, there was like something that was like some like meetup to talk about Scotland, and the like event description was like these people had gone and were gonna bring like Scottish biscuits and share photos from their trip. And my mom was like, "Do you want to go to this?" And I was like, "No, I want to go to Scotland. Like I've been there. Like, I don't need to go look at somebody else, some stranger's travel photos."
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Like
I want
I've
to go
been
get
to
my own
Scotland,
photos.
right? Like first of all, I can look at somebody else's photos from my phone in the comfort of my own home.
Exactly.
Also, I've been to Scotland. I don't want to look at somebody else's pictures. I want to go back.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, I
Anyway,
also want to run away to Scotland for vacation.
okay, let's do it right now.
Okay.
Okay. So, if you're still watching this episode,
Thank
please
you.
give us a like. Maybe comment below what are your feelings on Camilla? Do you really like her? Do you still hate her? Are you also like me, where I'm like, I can't get over what you guys did to Diana in the past, but like now you guys seem like pretty chill people and they're doing the best that they can?
I'll be very curious.
Huh?
I'll be very curious, like what the general consensus is.
Yeah, I am curious too because I don't know what kind of people are going to watch this episode.
Who knows?
Sometimes people will just see like who it's about and then they just come in to give me their opinion and I'm like, "Okay, you didn't watch it."
Hey, well, at least they commented. That's engagement. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
All right. If you want to get a hold of us, you could find us on Instagram. I have the handles for everything down below, along with my email if you want to email us. Other than that, we're going to get out of here because I got to start working on my little soundboard sounds for future
For next time.
episodes.
I've worked so hard.
Work so hard.
And on that note,
Okay, well, bye everybody.
bye.